Rick and anybody else we can to further things for the citizens of Fairfield County.
And then with Allegard, we have with us today, if I say your name's wrong, just correct me, but I think it's Trish Feely. Am I saying that right?
Yep.
And then Mr. Balthorpe.
Balthrop, yeah, a mouthful. Yeah, Corey Balthrop.
Balthorpe.
Yep. Perfect.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah, that's right. Understandable. Yeah.
I can't even say it. I work with
You
them.
got your name right.
That's right. Yeah, barely. Yeah.
Well, welcome to the Board of Commissioners meeting and give you a chance to introduce yourselves and kind of tell us what you see in terms of your involvement in our community and what you're trying to do.
Great. So I'm Tricia Feely. I'm the Vice President of HR. Home Holdings was our original name. Not so exciting. You could tell a bunch of lawyers were at the table and had to come up with a name. And so recently we changed to Allegard per Rick. When I started in May of 21, we had 3 companies. We've expanded to 6 companies. We went from 10 locations to 16 locations, and Lancaster is one of our key locations. When we purchased FPM, they had 18 employees in the payroll, and we are now up to 50. Changed the wage rates from $10 an hour to $14 an hour, and to be more competitive. And so we're really looking to partner with Jobs Ohio, the Workforce Community Center, to really help us bring new employees in, help us with training opportunities. We just had a safety talk this morning about building that culture of safety that is really, really important to us. And Lancaster's been that first site that we're doing that. So it's been really, really exciting. And I'm looking forward to people coming tomorrow and seeing kind of what we do. We manufacture EPS products, so it's foam. So when you guys see foam packaging that you get with your TV and maybe the cold chain coolers and also insulation for roofing and a lot of construction. Here in Lancaster, they do a lot of construction, and they also, A.O. Smith is the big customer here. So we make, round, I don't even know what. Cylinders, basically for water heaters. So it's things that you don't think about. But being in this business for almost, 2 years, it's a pretty interesting and dynamic business. Mm-hmm. And it's been great, so.
I've heard 3 numbers, 18, 50, and 85. And I wonder if you could kind of touch on those, what the play is there.
Absolutely. So right now is our slow season. Construction slows down in the first quarter. And so we'll start to see that spike again in April. And obviously our sales teams are out pushing business now, right? And so the plan is to get to that 85 by adding, a second shift, a third shift. So whatever we need to do to, bring people in, bring business to Lancaster, and then obviously provide jobs for people.
Just curious, Mayor, you might know. I know that the public transit, for example, has a stop at the Rock Mill Industrial Park, but I wasn't sure if transit had a current stop at the East Side Industrial Park.
I do not know off the top of my head, but we just announced the 5th loop effective February 27th yesterday. So I have that information. I can get that to you.
I'd be curious, and just the reason I ask that is the county and the city are cooperating right now in a kind of an overview, doing some research and some looking at our existing public transit and what we might want to do with that over the medium-term horizon in terms of thinking more about connecting employers and employees in public transit. And I'm not saying they're not currently connected, but we want to do a little deeper dive on that. Right now, transit is a City of Lancaster department. The county is a contributor. We've got a contract we'll sign soon for a consultant to kind of help us think through some of the policy issues associated with public transit. But and great move from 10 to 14, but even at 14, some of your employees might experience some transportation impediments.
And they do. And one of the other grants we got is we partnered with transportation, and we had a location in Grove City, Ohio.
Yeah, Grove City.
Didn't sound right. In Grove City, Ohio, and we had so when we bought fabricated packaging materials, we actually integrated that location with this location, and we still have about 5 employees that, we have the van pool program. And so we are transporting them back and forth so we could retain the talent. And so we're doing that as well. And, Ohio was able to help us with that too.
Stephanie was just able to confirm that it does go to the site industrial.
That's great.
Good, yeah,
That's
that's,
Because I would love to participate with that and help people get to work, because I know not everybody, they don't drive, and that's fine.
we're hearing that from a lot of different directions, and I'm trusting the information we were just given, but given its accuracy, that loop would come through that park every hour.
And that's great, so we can advertise it when we're recruiting and making sure people know they can transit.
I think it just goes to, like, I want to say 7 o'clock at night,
Great.
but not on Sundays. But again, something we're looking at to see what are the needs out there and how can we make sure we're meeting them. I'm going to give my colleagues an opportunity to say hello and ask any questions they might have, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Commissioner Dave Levis.
So, basically it's a hard foam rather than a soft foam.
Yeah, so it is. And so think about like insulation and airstream. Yeah. So it's a little bit more dense. Yeah.
I'm familiar with that.
Okay.
But I'm excited about coming and seeing the facilities.
Oh, great. So you'll be there tomorrow. Fantastic.
Excellent.
Yeah, we look forward to that.
But
Commissioner Jeff Fix.
I'd love to hear from Corey. Really kind of, what compelled you to pick our hometown to build and to grow?
Yeah, so one of the major, things we identified with fabricated packaging is the great business that Jeff, the prior owner, had already built. He was looking to retire, and we really viewed it as a way to break into the Midwest market. So strategically placed, it's a great location where we can kind of spread out and search for a new customer base that we previously didn't have market. Because in our industry, the ability to deliver quickly is key, right? So your transportation costs have to be low, and you have to be able to do it timely. So having geographically located facilities next to those customers is huge, especially as we look at expanding more of our construction applications out of that facility. We actually just this week, or testing it today, introduced some new equipment to be able to regrind some of our material and reintroduce it, so we're able to do more recycling, optimize more of our processes, and also expand our customer base by offering that product variability.
So the concept of the Midwest being the manufacturing hub, right? And reshoring all the things that we shipped out 30, 40 years ago. I know that you've always kind of been, it sounds like you've always been domestic, but the idea that you're growing here in the Midwest with us is, a sign, I think, as well as Intel, that little thing that we've got going on. But we're hearing more and more stories like this, right? Where people want to grow their manufacturing processes here in our county, and it's really exciting. Gives us a lot of opportunity to grow as well. So we appreciate what you guys are doing and look forward to your success here.
Well, again, on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, we thank you for choosing Lancaster and Fairfield County. I don't know the extent to which you've already built some semblance of a rapport with Rick, but as you may have already figured out, he wants to be helpful, and we want him to be helpful. So as you grow, and you have questions or concerns or issues that we, the county, or I'm sure the city would say the same, can be helpful to you on, we would want to do that.
Great.
Excellent.
Yeah, we look forward to it. Rick's been great to work with.
It's kind
It's been a great experience.
So, and then also, y'all certainly don't need my permission to go, but our meetings can get a little dry at times.
We have training going on back at the plant.
Yeah.
So
Oh, well, then you definitely need to go.
we've got people there, but no disrespect. Really appreciate the time and what you guys have done for our company, and we look forward to So thank you guys so
Thanks
much.
for being here.
And we look forward to seeing people tomorrow to host you at the plant so you can really get your eyes on it. It's an interesting manufacturing process for sure.
Absolutely.
So
I'll be there.
anybody's welcome. So,
Excellent.
all right. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Thanks for being here, Mayor.
Next, we're thrilled to have with us today the Executive Director of Meals on Wheels, Anna Tobin. As folks may know, Meals on Wheels is a lifeline to the senior community in many ways, primarily certainly with scheduled meal deliveries. But I think they've got their finger on the pulse of a lot that's going on in the senior community and trying to be responsive to that. And so we set aside Meals on Wheels.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, commissioners, for having us here today. It's a listen and learn, but I hope you'll be able to ask some questions as well. I'm going to be toast because all the information's behind me, and I was hoping it would be up here, so I'll be twisting around and looking. But it's an exciting time for Meals on Wheels right now. We're celebrating our 50th year of service to the community this year. And so we're excited to be able to share with you the results of last year through our annual report. That's what I thought I would touch on today. And it really is a snapshot. So with tongue in cheek, we've got a lot of pictures in it, but a lot of information of what we're doing to help support the seniors of Fairfield County. And so we'll get started here. Boy, oh boy. And so you're seeing our mission and our vision. And we are really dedicated. All we do is to help improve the quality of life for older folks and help them to remain living independently. Our vision is to act as a catalyst to develop, expand, and sustain whole countywide services. And that's what really gets me going, because we're connecting with partnerships. And throughout our report, you're going to see how we're connecting with others in the community to ensure our seniors are being served.
And Anna, that mic on the Fairfield free.
Okay, I saw this big note that said, don't touch the microphone. I'm a rule player.
You are allowed to touch it.
There we go. Now I'll know what I'm saying. Okay, so where we are. The title of our annual report was Making a Difference in Our Community. And we make a difference in the lives of people we serve. And we see that through their comments back to us, through the actual physical services that we provide, our hands-on approach to our people. We served over 2,500 people last year, and you see a little bit of the demographics of those we serve. We also serve caregivers, family caregivers who are working in an unpaid position, caring for a loved one, and that's huge for our seniors. We also service 217 veterans. We make a difference in the community. I'm a business major, so it's important to me that all this makes sense, you know, that we're just not throwing money at a problem, but there's results. And so at a budget of over $3 million and serving over 2,500 people, we're spending about $1,400 on people annually. And when you look at that, that's less than 1 day in the hospital or 7 days in a long-term care facility. That makes sense. As a community-based provider, we're able to provide those services to seniors in their homes where they want to be. And so our services in the community-based setting, they help reduce the strain on the already stressed healthcare budgets. So when you're looking at investing that amount of money, I think it's for every dollar you invest in programs like Meals on Wheels, you're saving taxpayers up to $50 in Medicaid services. And that can be from avoiding admissions to the hospital, readmissions or to early placements in the nursing homes, or avoidable readmissions to the emergency room. So all that adds up. But keeping seniors living at home, keeping them as consumers, they're taxpayers, and they're members of community, to me is the right thing to do. This is a brief overview of what services we did provide to our seniors throughout 2022. So one of our big things is we just did a community survey, and we're doing a I guess, a project to help expand and broaden knowledge in the community of the services we do provide. So our biggest one is, Meals on Wheels, that's our name. So if you need food, you know who to call. But if you need emergency response button, or if you need in-home healthcare services that are subsidized, if you need some transportation, a lot of people don't think to pick up the phone to call Meals on Wheels. So we're working over the course of the next year to co-brand, rebrand, how we communicate to the community, so our seniors know where to call. So we make a difference for our clients, and we know that because we survey our clients annually. And you can see clients overwhelmingly say that we help them feel safe in their homes. We help address their health. They say our customer service is great. We respond to them. When they call us, they get a person and not, an automated phone call. And then our clients say it helps helps it possible for them to stay living in their home at 87%. So partnerships, we talked about a little bit at the beginning, acting as that catalyst to bring people together. They make a difference. And so when you look out in the community, Meals on Wheels grants back, as part of our contract with the commissioners, funds to organizations in the community. So you see a list of the providers that we support. So when we look at Fairfield County, we're donating back to Fairfield County's probate court to help fund the guardianship program for those that are indigent and can't make decisions on their own, getting a guardian in place for them. We fund transportation services for Lancaster Public Transportation, the United Way, information and referral, adult daycare needs. We also help support Olivedale Senior Center. And then there's, I believe, we're down to about 7 senior clubs now that we fund. So they have activities that they do in all the burgs, all the little communities throughout Fairfield County. And then we're also supporting like community action for emergency food product and hygiene products for seniors. And what's important about this is Meals on Wheels can't do everything. We don't have the staff to do everything. So if we're able to help fund programs that are serving seniors, we can really expand our reach. Another way we expand our effectiveness is to work with community partners. Again, we don't have the staff to do minor home repairs. We don't have the staff to do in-home behavioral health. So we look at all these different partners that we contract with to provide services. There's a lot of them. And then we also have community partners who help us in in-kind ways. So we get PEP program donations to support our PEP program that provides food to low-income seniors who are struggling to take care of their little fur babies, who are their friends and their companions for the day. We have special programs out in the community. We do, we work with like Fairfield Heating and Cooling, and they go out on an annual basis and look at furnaces for older folks. We do programs with Fairfield Humane Society. They'll bring us leftover pet food to help support our program. We're engaged with the Older Adult Network, who has just become a program of Meals on Wheels. And that's a whole collaboration of senior serving organizations who come together and help to identify gaps in services and how we can work together to support our seniors. And then we would sit on community coalitions. So we have a staff member who's involved in each one of these coalitions. And the important part about that is they're at the table, they're advocating for our seniors, they're making connections and engaging with others in the community to work together to best serve our seniors. And our people make a difference. So we have volunteers who step up each and every day. I was working in the kitchen the other day and I looked around and there was like 4 people around me who were volunteers. They were scooping food, they were packing bread, they were doing all kinds of things to make sure the meals got out for the day. Because as you know, COVID has not gone away. And we lost about half of our kitchen staff 1 week. And so it was really important that those volunteers were there for us. And then we have Community Champions Week that's coming up in March. And you'll probably identify with some of the people who are on the screen. But we have community leaders who come out and business leaders who will come out and get the Meals on Wheels experience. And then, of course, our Board of Trustees donate their time. I know Corey Clark is one of our board members, so thank you, Corey, for your time. But bringing all that expertise together, we can draw upon that knowledge to help further our mission. And I have a little notation of the number of volunteers who did donate their time and to help us accomplish our mission. And then for our financial support, that makes a difference in our effectiveness to be able to serve. We get donations, grants, fundraising. We are supported by the Meals on Wheels Senior Services Levy here locally, and also receive Title III funding through the Central Ohio Area Office on Aging. And I have to say, I'm so grateful to the county for the funds that were provided to us through the county cares. It really helped extend our budget. And then here's a brief overview of our financials. They are unaudited, putting that disclaimer out there right now. They're pulled from our year-end numbers for 2022. And as you can see, 70% of our operating expenses are for groceries. So when you're spending about, or serving about 1,000 people a day, our grocery bill gets quite large. But we do have 27% are our aging services, and that's everything from the in-home health care to the emergency response buttons and to all the other supportive programs. And then on our income side, you can see that the levy covered about 66% of our budget last year. We have public support, contract revenues, grants, program revenue, etc. So we just don't operate willy-nilly. Meals on Wheels does develop a 5-year strategic plan. We meet with people in the community. We survey our seniors to gather information to provide our direction on a 5-year basis. And so I just pulled out a few things that we're targeting in our 2020 to 2024 strategic plan. Transportation was a big one. And you can see some of the ways that Meals on Wheels was able to work together with people in the organizations in the community to expand access for our seniors. So, and what do I want to say? Expanding our contract with the Center for Disabilities for medical transportation. We've also increased funding through those grant opportunities to Lancaster Public Transit, as well as Canal Winchester Human Services. And Meals on Wheels, we have our own medical transportation that we're able to provide, wheelchair service and all. And we do have a backup with a van. What we're limited by is getting people in the door to work. So I don't know if you're all experiencing that same thing, but that's our limitation. So it made sense to reach out to those providers who have drivers and have the ability. Educational programs, you can see seniors were saying they want information on topics that's important to them, and we were able to connect with Medicare, budgeting, long-term support services, elder abuse scams, and health and wellness. And then housing stability. This is usually very high on the return. Seniors want safe, affordable housing options. And when you think about it, I don't think we've built anything new since 2008, for seniors. So that's a big thing. So our care coordinators and staff at Meals on Wheels were able to offer other programs to help reduce the stress of paying for rent or mortgage. So we have utility assistance and minor home repairs. We do offer representative payee services, have been able to keep many seniors in their apartments because now we're managing their funds for them, keeping them on track, and helping them remain safely in their own homes. We have supplemental food boxes. When rent and mortgage assistance was available through the CARES funds, we were able to access those and help a lot of seniors through that crisis. Homelessness. We don't have any plans in place right now for homelessness, but we're investigating. We are seeing more and more homeless seniors living in their cars, coming through our doors at our senior services center, and we're trying to determine how we best can support that issue. But for now, we're able to offer supplemental food, clothing, and referrals to other community services. We currently established a relationship with the Adam H. Board and became a part of their network of care. Seniors were wanting in-home behavioral health care. They wanted people to talk to. Although they can't get in their cars and drive to a doctor's appointment, they want people to come to their home. So we were able to enter into an agreement to extend counseling into the home. Affordable prescription costs, that's another huge one. A lot of seniors are having pills in half. They're not taking their medications because they can't afford them. So at Meals on Wheels, we do have a couple of certified OSHIP coordinators on staff who help counsel seniors in prescription plans to help them save money. And then they want chore assistance. You know, we do have in-home health services for our seniors where we provide a homemaker. But homemaking is dusting, sweeping. A lot of seniors are telling us, I need somebody to do the bigger jobs for me. So we did develop a volunteer-driven chore assistance program to help our seniors. And we, again, to address the help in home, you're all aware, there is such a shortage of direct care providers. This is something we're advocating on the state level. Something has to be done. You know, when we're looking at community-based services being the best way to go, we need the workforce to support it. They are some of the lowest paid jobs out there. When you can work at McDonald's for a higher rate than if you work in a home taking care of a human being, something's wrong. So that's a big part of our advocacy right now that we're working to help improve the rates that insurance companies reimburse for services that are in the home. Well, that's Meals on Wheels. I thank you for your opportunity today to be here to help provide a little bit of information of what we're doing to help support the seniors here in Fairfield County.
You know, about our own life situations, but don't every day get to interact and experience what some of your clients are experiencing. I'm seeing a little bit of that in my research into transit. These folks have those impediments and societally see it every day. So guys are wide open. You know, we appreciate you and what y'all are doing. Give my colleagues, Commissioner Levesey, and then Fix an opportunity to ask any questions or make it they would like to make.
So, thank you for Meals on Wheels and all your staff and volunteers for everything they do. And, you know what, unless you've actually done a ride around, which I was able to do, you really don't really understand. But I think one of the things you presented there was your payee service. I think that's a good thing. I sat on the state elder abuse commission, as well as, you know, with our protective service and elder abuse and the financial aspect is one of the big major problems with some of our elder folks. And by you being able to do that, I'm sure that probably helps. with that
Absolutely.
issue, you know.
There are many times we get family members who move in with grandma, grandpa, and those family members can take advantage. So the payee service really does protect their funds, so family members might not be able to get access to them, or because of cognitive impairments are unable to.
That certainly makes sense, and I'm happy to see.
Thank you.
Commissioner Fix.
So, really deeply appreciative of your work and help out with Meals on Wheels. I think, and Commissioner Davis is right. Most of us don't think of or hear of, right, on a day-to-day basis, what you guys are doing, kind of quietly out there, making a difference in the world. And that's really cool. One of the things that strikes me as you go through your presentation is all the different things that you do, right? You mentioned at the beginning, we're not just Meals on Wheels, we're all these other things. And there's a way to tell that story. And I know that's part of, you know, your plan, but getting the word out there that, you know, number one, for seniors who need it, all these things are available, but two, for all the taxpayers who will be asked to help, knowing that it's much deeper than just bringing a lunch or a dinner out. That's a big deal. So appreciate all that work as well.
Thank you so much. I'll pass along your comments to our staff.
Thanks.
And then, Corey is our Director of Job and Family Services and also serves as a board member on Meals on Wheels. And I'm going to give you an opportunity to share or say anything that you'd like about work with and what y'all are trying to do.
Sure. Anna was very thorough in her presentation, but it's truly a pleasure for me to be serving on that board. I think it's been about 7 or 8 years, I think. So I've learned a lot about the services that they provide, and I'm very, I'm proud to be part of that because those services are critical for the seniors in our community, and they really do make a difference. And Anna and her team are really to be commended for that. They do a fantastic job.
And on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, Anna, we appreciate you and thank you for being here. I know we've got some irons in the fire with y'all that we're working through together, and look forward to our continued partnership. At this time, the commission sets aside an opportunity for voters or taxpayers to address the commission. Anna, would you return the mic that you stole?
It's up there.
Thank you for doing that. If you would like to address the commission, please begin by stating your name and residential address. We do have a 3-minute time limit, which we do need to enforce today, given our full calendar of events throughout the day. If you would, when you make your remarks, direct them to the commission. We don't permit people to debate other people in the audience or crosstalk or any of that kind of stuff. It's a formal meeting. And also I should mention that we don't debate you or question you or argue with you about the points that you would like to make. This is a time that we set aside where we're supposed to be listening. And so that's what we try to do. So under those terms and conditions, is there anyone who would like to address the commission at this time? Sir.
Out there. You'll find out I have a pretty loud voice from my job I used to have.
We have folks online and that's really the only way that they
Correct.
can hear.
My name's Francis Martin. I live at 9370 Cattail Road, Pleasantville, Ohio. I'm here to talk to you about solar panels that are on their way. I've lived in Fairfield County for 30 years now. Worked for the city of Columbus, retired police officer, 32 years. 2 years ago, I got to retire. Enjoy my life. Spent my first 26 years at Pickering. And I said, well, I enjoyed it out there. Took time. I said, I'm going to retire soon, so I want to live somewhere nice. I've come up Millersport all my life. 50 years going down Refugee Road from Canal Winchester all the way downtown Millersport for the Corn Fest. I've known the area all my life. My son lives here. I got the chance to buy property in Fairfield County by Buckeye Lake. When I retired, my wife gave me the chance to buy a boat. I got a boat on Buckeye Lake. I had a dock there. I said, I'm living the high life. A year ago, I started hearing rumblings about solar panels. I'm for them. We got to handle our power somehow. So let's do it. I'm thinking, I know what's going on Buckeye Lake. I know they're trying to improve it. I know they're trying to build it up to have people come there. I want to be there. So I'm thinking solar panels are going to have to help this. But it also entails they need the power. So, okay, I understand solar power there. We need the power here. 6 months ago, I find out there's a map. I am now surrounded by property that has now been leased to solar panels, 2.5 square around me. I look out my front door. That's where they're going to be. There's a creek that has a runoff that's going to run everything down. So now I'm going to start doing my studying on what's happening here. I chose to be out there on purpose. I wanted to live the farmland out. I was happy there. Now I'm going to live in the middle of an industrial solar panel field. And I have no say about it. You do. That's why I'm here to talk to you about it. I have concerns. I have concerns about my property value. I have concerns about my water that's coming off these fields. I worry about my well that I drink out of. The creek that runs with my property is less than 4 miles away from Buckeye Lake. I have no idea what's going to go into there. I'm looking and I'm trying to learn, just like you are, and you're wanting the information. I'll go do the information. I'm retired. If that's what I got to do, when I'm retired, I'll go all over the state of Ohio and look at these places. I don't understand how this happens to a residential area. I live with many neighbors that are right beside me, and we're all going to be surrounded by this. It had no sense. I don't have a problem with rights of landowners. I want them to tell them, but I also want them to respect me on my land. I moved out there for a purpose because I loved what they had. What I'm worried about now, and as I told you in the beginning, I used to come down that road, go to the Millersport Corn Fest. Now I'm going to see a sign that says, sometime in the future, Millersport Solar Panel Festival, dedicated by PJM, Pennsylvania, Jersey, Maryland. That's where the power's going. It's not even going to be here for Buckeye Lake or Intel. It's leaving. And I read all that. I don't know what I can believe on the internet, but that's what I've seen. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Is there anyone else who would like to address the commission at this time?
I would. I'm Melissa Hoover Connor. I live at 7710 Cattail Road, so the Martins are my neighbors. Like Mr. Martin, I want to address the industrial solar that is planned for our area. This is a map of Walnut Township. I'm sure you're all familiar with it. All of the area that is green is zoned rural residential. This is why Mr. Martin and many others had moved to Walnut Township, because their expectation was rural residential. It was not industrial solar. Like Mr. Martin, I am not against solar energy. I am not against wind energy, but I am pro-agriculture. And unfortunately, in this particular instance, we have to choose. This morning, because of conversations that I had with people over the weekend, I got an idea. This is the map that is produced and provided to us from EDF. They are the solar company that will be building the project that is planned for Walnut Township. Just for clarification, not all of this land is in their project currently. They also have 3 additional parcels that they have leases on that are in Richland and Pleasant Townships. But just looking at this map of this particular project, and I will also add as a side note, there are 3 projects that I am aware of that are planning to come to Fairfield County. There may be more. I don't know. I have no way of knowing until they register that property with the county as being leased. But if I just look at the EDF map, and I look at the Walnut Township map, and I look at those properties that they have planned on putting industrial solar on, and I look at the property that is contiguous with their development. So meaning that they have a property line that they share, or they are directly across the road. When I look at that, and I look at this list of people who have leased their property to Eastern Cottontail, I subtract the 3 parcels that we're not looking at for this particular information, I have 9 people on here who have leased their land to Industrial Solar for Eastern Cottontail. That means when I count those contiguous properties, I have 9 people in one industrial solar company who has made the decision for 87 parcels that abut what they are planning to do in just the portion that is in Walnut Township. Yes, 87. The Martins are just one of those property owners. Those owners are not just people like the Martins who came out here and built a house. They're also farm properties. As I look at this map, in that area of those contiguous properties, I counted 9 streams and 10 ponds. I don't know what this means as far as water runoff, safety, etc. But I'm doing my homework because I live across the road from one of these, and I am concerned about runoff, field tiles that are affected, and also my water table. I'd be happy to. Thank you very much for your time today. I appreciate your attention and concern in this matter. Thank you.
Legal.
Well, we're working on a lot. I have nothing specific to update the commission.
So, I took, some time this morning and went, over the existing MCJDC agreement, a contract that the county will, hopefully enter into. What I was trying to do is revise that, agreement to, make it consistent with the current discussions. We had an MCJDC board meeting, this past Friday. Prior to that meeting, Commissioner Bub from Licking County and I had kind of gotten together to see if we could, get a framework in place, and we think we do have that framework, which we went over with the full board and board of trustees on Friday. Very similar to the prior 3-year agreement, with the most significant changes being an elimination of the $100,000 roundup, which I've reflected in the changes I've tried to make today. An inclusion of a phased-in fee for fiscal services, which I took a stab at that too. And then just a drop sentence regarding the need in the coming years to have a dissolution framework addressed, so that if in the future dissolution of the district comes up again, people will kind of have a paint by numbers approach to what that looks like. And then following that little, doodling, I guess I'd call it, that I did today, I gave a copy of that to Auditor Brown to review the auditor's office provision of that service, and the compensation that would be phased in for that service is certainly one of the more significant of that. So Dr. Brown's going to give some thought to that and what that looks like short term. What was discussed at the meeting was Fairfield County would produce the first iteration of that potential agreement, and then circulate that to the other member counties. The goal is to bring back hopefully a final draft of that agreement for the board of trustees and the Board of Commissioners in May. I think it's May 2nd. So we're trying to get that circulated in advance of that May meeting. And then I'm not recalling specifically the protocol for passage of the prior agreement. But just logically, I imagine that each Board of Commissioners will probably do a resolution at their meeting, so to speak, to then bind the counties to the agreement. But however that was done before, I'm sure we'll do it that way again.
I'm sorry, Commissioner, when you say agreement, are you talking about a resolution or an actual agreement?
There is,
Because I'm aware of a resolution, but is there an underlying agreement as well?
no, it's just the resolution.
That was my recollection, but I hadn't done a super deep dive in it. I did speak with Ani yesterday about it, and we were able, I mean, it looked like our office had prepared that template because obviously the Fairfield County Auditor being fiscal agent for that multi-county board, we could provide that assistance. Obviously, we don't represent the entire board because it's different counties, but we certainly represent you.
If you wouldn't mind, I'd appreciate it. And once Dr. Brown has had an opportunity to clean up my mess a little bit, I'm sure, we'll get you a kind of a working draft of what we're thinking, and then y'all can tighten that up, and hopefully we can have a reasonably tight turnaround on that, just so that we can get it out. And I know May seems like a long way away, but it does. And then, Dr. Brown, did you have any thoughts or comments on that right now?
I'm already taking a look. I have a couple of things to suggest and connect with y'all.
Great, I appreciate it. Anything else on legal? Any questions or concerns on those issues, guys? All right.
Just to add one thing, Amy is working with RLS and Associates to fine tune an agreement we're working on there, and I think you're doing a
Yeah, you know, and I know I'm an impatient person. I own that. But that RLS thing, I'm really interested in trying to get that process underway. My concern on that is as we look at the calendar and the fiscal year of Lancaster Fairfield Public Transit, when we have our research and analysis and talking done, and what time is left after that and before the beginning of the fiscal year is a concern. By the same token, you know, if we lose a year, we lose a year, but we're trying not to.
I'm pretty confident we're going to have that.
I appreciate you.
Thanks, Amy.
Thank you. And now I'm sensing a little stress over there. What's going on in your life?
Nothing.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Administration update.
Okay, ARP update from the 30.6 received. 22.2 has been appropriated, 11.5 expended, and 4.2 encumbered or obligated. Jeff or Bart, do you have anything to add?
No.
Moving on, energy aggregation. So Palmer Energy coordinates the RFP process with the county's electrical services, and myself and Bart and John Coaches will be meeting with folks from that team later this week. As has been past practice, it would be helpful to the timeliness of the process to authorize myself as the county administrator to sign all necessary documents for the electricity services contracts, while also sharing that information with the Board of County Commissioners. So in the past, you did make a motion to authorize that in the minutes, and that could be acted upon that way.
And then we made that motion before we knew the number.
Yes, I will be updating you in that process. There is a timeliness component to be able to respond to this process.
I understand. And before I make a motion, I would just want folks to kind of be prepared for what might be a little sticker shock. I don't have inside information as to what that number is going to be. I just aware of market situations generally, and I'm anticipating that number to not be as wonderful as past numbers have been. With that being said, I'll make the motion.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Discussion on the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Motion carries. You are so authorized. Please continue.
Thank you. And folks from Palmer have indicated as such that we will be seeing increase. All right, City of Pickerington is holding a planning and zoning commission meeting this evening at City Hall to discuss a preliminary development plan zoning amendment for 8185 Pickerington Road for approximately 212.2 acres located on the southwest corner of Busey and Pickerington Road. We did receive a communication from a citizen in that area regarding this development, have reached out to County Engineer Jeremiah Upp and Rick Zabrak to gather information to provide to that citizen. And I believe Commissioner Davis, you have responded accordingly.
Yeah, the citizen was concerned. Apparently, for whatever reason, was not previously aware of the 2020 annexation of the subject acreage. So Ani et al. Or whatever put together a review packet for me this morning so that I could respond to the constituent accurately. I didn't remember all the details. But having looked at that packet, just so my colleagues are aware, if questions come up to y'all, it was what I would refer to, I don't even know if this is the right language anymore, but in the common parlance, it would be referred to as a type 2, 100% owner occupied. In fact, I think the city of Pickerington owned it. So when the city of Pickerington wanted to annex land into the city of Pickerington that they already owned, we did not have discretion or any basis upon which to deny that annexation. Also, just going from memory, I do not recall any questions, comments, or concerns being brought to our attention by the public at that time. I don't also review the notice affidavit from the petitioner, and it appears that adjoining landowners to that annexation were notified. The lady that questioned this development or whatever is very near to the proposed development, not necessarily an adjoining landowner. So she may not have specifically received notice of the annexation back in 2020. The other question she had was regarding what she referred to as the off-ramp at Pickerington Road. My response to that section of her inquiry was just that I was not aware of an approved and fully funded plan for that interchange. I was aware of discussions regarding a desire by many to alleviate that light, but not aware of anything written in stone or funded. If I misspoke on that, Jeremiah, tell me now and I'll clean myself up.
No, you're accurate with that, although ODOT is proceeding with designing the project, so the footprint of it is getting closer and closer every day to being installed.
Okay.
But you're correct, it's not there yet.
The commissioners, Dubsy or Fix, are y'all hearing anything on this or not yet?
On the property or on the exit ramp?
The property is what I was.
No, I mean, it's been in the works for several years. Pickerington and Violet Township. I mean, Pickerington, the city bought the land. It's going to be developed. So I'm a little surprised that anybody's surprised. It was in the news up there and only discussion about it. So.
I didn't review the purchase or sales records for the property of the person who's concerned. So could have been theoretically somebody who, bought the house later and didn't know. I don't know, but I just wanted to be accurate on it. I asked Ani to bring it up today just in the sense that I heard that this meeting tonight might be well attended. So I thought we might.
You going?
It's Valentine's Day, so I'll be.
It's a big day in David's house.
It's my 17th favorite holiday, and so I'm going to celebrate it tonight.
Did receive additional information this morning from Mitch Noland at the engineer's office, just stating that Pickerington Road is indeed a county road, which is the annexation. And the city of Pickerington did not annex any portion of Pickerington Road, and therefore the right-of-way access permitting will still flow through the Fairfield County Engineer's office for that.
Please.
All right. Good back, yeah. Today at 11 o'clock, we will have the official opening for the Sheriff's Emergency Services Facility. Everyone is welcome to join us today. Location is out near the airport. Highlights of resolutions. The review packet contains a list of administrative approvals. There are 21 resolutions for the voting meeting. A couple of resolutions of note. We are amending the meeting schedule. Again, this will accommodate the Multi-County Juvenile Detention Center meeting schedule for May 2nd. We're moving that meeting to 1 p.m. on that day. And then we also are adjusting the time for the May 23rd meeting to be at 1 o'clock to allow for the leadership conference earlier that morning. There's also a resolution to approve a memo receipt for salt reimbursement to the engineer's office for salt for the facilities. Anything you want to add to that, Jeremiah?
Just that, once again, this year, it looks like, we're going to, I shouldn't say this because I'll change this, but it looks like we're going to be paying to store salt. So once again, looking forward to the addition of the bigger salt next year.
We also have a resolution to renew a lease agreement with Capital City Chapter of the Experimental Aircraft Association out at the airport. That new lease would go through February 28th of 24. A resolution to extend the repayment date to April 15th, 23 for the EV charging station at the Workforce Development Center. Do you want to talk about that at all?
I don't think he does.
Oh, we got the parts.
Does it work?
Supposedly, up to just on 11 to install them. Now, last Wednesday, that said they would be contacting me back. I would give somebody for you to call, but they have not returned my 11 messages.
So I'll defer to your management of this issue. But I'll just tell you that for 1/3 of the commission equation, if you want to sue them, proceed through arbitration or whatever the agreement calls for, I'm really not liking the idea of those not being functional. I assume we paid for them, right? And then they don't work. So I'd go all in on that. I'd be supportive of you have all the management tools available to you to solve that problem.
And then we'll end on an up note, the resolution to authorize an agreement for the workforce training grant funds with Allegar today. So that's on the agenda. Budget review part.
Fairfield County District meeting this Thursday at 1:30. We'll be discussing CRMS contracts, best practices, financial reporting, and financial communication.
Thanks, Bart. So recognition items, County Auditor Dr. Carrie Brown shared her appreciation for the teamwork demonstrated with the County Auditor's Office in publishing the RFP for the Sexennial Reappraisal Service in the same week as the order from the Ohio Department of Taxation was received. Innovation and customer service are newly added parts of the scoring methodology. County Auditor Dr. Brown shared that she'd received a very positive email regarding the auditor's website from a surveyor that works with multiple states. Huge thank you to Dan Neely and the rest of the IT team for their immediate attention to a number of phishing attempts that had impacted the county. So specifically Dan and Brian and anybody else you want to give a shout out to there, Dan? Team effort. Thank you. So we have a couple here from the utilities office, and I think we have some pictures to pop up on the screen here. But James Boving, Tom Bouts, and Devin Mullen designed and built a stand to hold what's called a vertical loop reactor shaft. And that's the picture, right, Tony? And James and Devin designed that cradle and then constructed it, which is huge. They brought their own tools. And then the day that the crane arrived to remove that long steel shaft and aeration paddles, Tom, James, and Devin were prepared and completed that project in 2 hours. So very outstanding effort for Tony's team there. Anything you want to add on that one?
No, they started the project on a Friday. Concerns me when you do stuff on Friday, because that means you're usually there late. But they got done in 2 hours. And that shaft's 28 foot long, weighs 2,300 pounds.
Thank you. And then another one from utilities on a Friday again. Had a lift station at Greenfield Township that was plugged with rags.
This lift station is the largest and most important in the Greenfield system. And in this instance, Steve Russell and Ross Davis began to unclog it when the rails came off the pump and it was no longer seated. So I'm just picturing that to be a very bad thing, right, Tony?
Yeah, real bad. That means your Friday's not going good.
So the lift station was filling and the employees needed to act fast to repair it at 4 o'clock. So remember, this started at 2:30. At 4 o'clock, Steve Toole, Tom Bouts, and Josh Anders arrived to assist both Steve and Ross. And these employees had to remove the rails and reinstall them in order to set the pump to begin pumping. Took until 8:30 that evening to make the lift station operational. On Tuesday of this week, or last week, the same individuals removed the old rusted rails and installed new stainless steel ones to resolve any future lift station problems. So good outcome to a messy situation. Sorry for the long description, but I had to paint that picture for the outstanding work those folks were doing. Rochelle, calendar review and invitations received, please.
All right, for calendar review, today the commissioners have the Emergency Services Facility grand opening at 11 and the Transportation Improvement District meeting at 1. Tomorrow we have the Allegard facility tour that we spoke about earlier. That is at 9 a.m. at 2109 Commerce Street. And on Friday, the Family, Adult, and Children First Executive Committee meeting at 8:30. That's a.m., sorry. For invitations received from Fairfield Medical Center, Legendary Philanthropy Award, Open House and Presentations. That is February 23rd. The open house is at 5 o'clock. Presentations begin at 6, and that is at the River Valley campus. Adam H. Annual Dinner, March 28th, 6:30 p.m., and that is at the Sheriff Chalet. For correspondence received, Fairfield County Municipal Court Fees Report, January 2023, the Criminal Traffic Division, the Ohio Department of Taxation Journal Entry number 23-1-0025 from January 24th, the tax year reappraisals for Ohio counties. From Meals on Wheels, the celebration honoring the Older Americans Act Nutrition Program. From the Mid-Ohio Food Collective, a letter on the 2022 Collective County Service Report. A memo from Dr. Carrie Brown on February 10th, subjects GIS collaborates for public safety, legal level of control for efficiency, Board of Revision online case files, and City of Lancaster's road improvements levy fact sheet. A thank you to Commissioner Levacy from the Fairfield Medical Center Foundation, and a letter from the Ohio History Connection regarding the John Least House on Cincinnati Zanesville Road, which is being considered for the National Register of Historic Places.
Real quick, Rochelle, could you calendar me for the Fairfield Medical Center and the Adam dinner, please?
Absolutely, thank you.
Thanks, Rochelle. Jail population last week, February the 7th, was 237, with 19 of those being contracted placements. The sheriff reports today 227, with 15 of those being contracted placements. And he is still having difficulty reaching out to Meigs County, and not sure if you all saw in the news, but the former Meigs County sheriff has been indicted on a number of counts. So there is some difficulties being experienced at Meigs right now, and Meigs was the largest county that was sending prisoners here to Fairfield. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Under old business, I just wanted to mention, I am not currently a member of the Investment Advisory Committee. Still monitoring events that are relevant to the work of that committee. As folks may recall, back in the fall of 22, I argued perhaps too aggressively that a window had opened up on the 5-year month. It's appeared that window has nearly reopened. I just checked a few minutes ago, and the 5-year is at 3.969. Up just a little bit this morning, but appears to be on its way to cross back over 4, which I thought was relevant. Anything else under old business? Commissioner Levacy.
So, as I mentioned last week, had a meeting board meeting with the Governor's Workforce Board. That was my first meeting. We met at Dublin Schools. What a great facility. I mean, I don't know if anybody's been there, but it's like a college campus. They have 17,000 students. Amazing number. Workforce or their technical portion of their school is a big issue with them. They have about 10% of their students enrolled in that. But doing great things. But so it was pretty interesting that those in attendance, we had people from all over the state of Ohio that attended. We have people from Cleveland Clinic as well as Cincinnati Airport, which isn't in Cincinnati. So it was pretty interesting to see the broad representation that was at. And I think there's a lot of good things going on there. One of the major topics was the governor's budget, about 300 million. And of course, I did bring up the workforce center that we need to qualify for that. So the director was there. She heard my message. So, but it did. It was good to be there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Fix.
Yeah, so, in the past week, participated in the One Ohio Foundation Board of Directors meeting, continuing to make progress and gaining traction there. Jeremiah our county engineer, and I had a chance to spend an hour or so with William Murdoch, CEO of Morpsey, and some of his staff, and have what I felt was a really productive conversation. They clearly understand the challenges that we face as a county when it comes to transportation, moving people in and out of our county and around our county, and seem to want to be supportive of the projects that our Transportation Improvement District has identified as priorities. So it was I think a positive first step. We'll see, how that progresses, but it was a good conversation to have. Jeremiah, you want to add anything to that, or?
No, we just, I think we did a good job of reinforcing to Morpsey that we understand that they're a partner, bigger project, big things that we're looking at prioritizing in the county. And they received that very well. I thought it was a great meeting. I thought, we had the right people in the meeting. You see, about all I can add to it.
Thank you. Last week I was able to go to Bern Union High School in Sugar Grove and to kind of watch 5 groups of students present their vision for what their schools should look like in 2075. And there were some really cool ideas. There's some really wild ideas. Every time I get a chance, Dave and I talk all the time about when we go to the 4-H, or the, anything having to do with kids in schools. In Fairfield County, I always walk away with a sense of, we've got a great future here, right? Because these kids took their own time, right? They weren't getting class credit. It wasn't during class time, and spent hundreds of hours as a team, 5 different teams, creating their vision and presenting it then to a group of judges from the construction industry. And just a really cool event, and gave me a real sense of pride in our community and hope for the future. So that was a real nice opportunity. Spent some time with Liberty Township trustee Don Keller. They're putting together a symposium on development and growth that I know a number of our team members will be attending. I won't be able to go. I'll be on vacation that week, but we're shooting a video to present at that symposium. There's a lot of misinformation out there, I guess I would say, about what the future holds for that part of our county, and I'm hopeful that night we can answer a lot of questions. And Don Keller is on it, wants to be thoughtful and planful about the future of Liberty Township, so I appreciate his work. Finally, yesterday I had a chance to meet with former Congressman Steve Stivers, now the president of the Ohio Chamber of Commerce. We talked at length about our ask in the state budget with regard to our Workforce Development Center, and he is very supportive of that, recognizes the value of it, workforce development is one of the pillars of their strategic plan going forward. So he has offered to be helpful in any way he can with the State House folks and talked a little bit about language that might need to be adjusted in that budget process. So I was very, very positive. That's all I have, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Under new business, with brevity being the soul of wit, John Coaches.
Just a happy announcement that we will be moving the Pickerington title office in their new effective location at the Fairfield Center on Tuesday, the 21st. So we'll complete that move this weekend. I'll open on Tuesday. So.
And hats off to John and Dennis previously and Dan, as well as Brandon and everybody for having that come together.
Thank you. I'm not going to do any new business. Commissioner Levesey.
So I really don't have anything other than a reminder, if you haven't already, wife, husband, significant other, today's Valentine's Day, you better do something about it. That's it.
Commissioner Fix.
So quickly, the One Ohio Region 18, which is the 7 counties that we are a part of, has a meeting tomorrow night in Delaware that I will be attending and presenting at. And then next Tuesday, I will not be at the county commission meeting as I will be attending the Ohio Chamber Housing Summit. I asked Mr. Stivers if he would move his summit so that I could attend the commission meetings, and he deferred. So I will not be here next Tuesday. I'm sure you'll have fun in my absence.
Yeah, so if department heads or others have issues or things that you were trying to get through that Commissioner Fix was holding up, next Tuesday would be the time to jam those things through.
I'd also like to mention how ironic it is for you to talk about brevity.
Man, I was looking out for you. 10:30, you got to be on camera.
Yeah.
All right. The commission will move to its voting pattern.
I'm sure you got it.
It was from Heather.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
You would please rise if you're able and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Michelle, do we have any announcements?
There are no announcements.
Looking for a motion to approve the minutes for February 7, 2023.
So moved?
Discussion. Vote roll.
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis? Minutes passed 3-0. From the Commissioner's Office, Resolution 2023-2.14.a. A resolution amending Resolution 2022-11.29.a for the approval of establishment of the Fairfield County Board of Commissioners 2023 review session and regular meeting dates and special meeting dates, and establishing a new time and location for the May 23rd, 2023 meeting.
Under Commissioners, I move items A, B, C, D, E, and F.
Second.
Discussion.
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Motion is passed 3-0. From Economic and Workforce Development, Resolution 2023-2.14.g. A resolution to authorize an agreement with Allegard for workforce training grant funds.
Under Economic and Workforce Development, move items G and H.
Second.
Discussion. Thank you, Commissioners, for your support. This workforce development grant was created for my time, actually. So thank you, Dr. Brown. It's a nice tool that most communities don't have. It was a way for the county to help bring Magna here, a way to help expand Allegard and others in the community that have used over the years. So appreciate being able to use this to focus on what we care about, which is job growth and thank you. Further discussion? On behalf of the Commissioners, Rick, and we appreciate your work. Thrilled to be able to have moments like this morning where we could participate in very soon.
I also would just like to, second hospital, thanks for Port Authority, who we haven't always been to the table in these things, and, we work in tandem now in almost every one of these now, and that wasn't the case necessarily in the past, and, it's us to, for us to.
Further discussion?
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis? Motion's passed 3-0. From the Fairfield County Engineer, Resolution 2023-2.14.i, a resolution to approve a memo expense for West Buckeye Lake Ballard Lane expenses.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Answer any questions if you have it.
Further discussion?
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0. From Fairfield County Job and Family Services, Resolution 2023-2.14.j, a resolution regarding a purchase of service contract between 22 Miles Incorporated and Job and Family Services.
In Fairfield County Job and Family Services, I move items J, K, L, M, N, O, and P.
Second.
Discussion?
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis? Motion's passed 3-0. From Fairfield County Juvenile Probate Court, Resolution 2023-2.14.q, a resolution to appropriate from unappropriated in a major expenditure object category. Juvenile Court Fund Number 2317, Computer Fund.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0. From the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office, Resolution 2023-2.14.r, a resolution to appropriate from unappropriated in a major expenditure object category, Sheriff's Office Fund 2027 weights.
Under Fairfield County Sheriff, I move items R and S.
Second.
Discussion?
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Motion's passed 3-0. From South Central Major Crimes Unit, Resolution 2023-2.14.t, a resolution to appropriate from unappropriated in a major expenditure object category, South Central Major Crimes Unit 78785823 SF 8315 COAP DOJ grant.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis? Motion passes 3-0. On payment of bills, Resolution 2023-2.14.u, a resolution authorizing the approval of payment of invoices for departments that need Board of Commissioners approval.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Commissioner Fix?
Yes.
Commissioner Levesey?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis? Motion passes 3-0. The next regular meeting is scheduled for February 21st at 9 a.m.
Does anybody on the HI, would anybody like to bring the attention to the commission at this time? Here, no, accept the vote.
Motion to adjourn.
Good motion. Aye. Here, the commission is adjourned, we move into roll.